All righty, we are live. Now we are live. I'm trying to go live on Instagram, which always causes troubles because it takes a while. Okay, I think there we go. Hello, hello. Thank you so much for joining us. Or if you are going to be watching the replay, we are very excited for you to joining us in this beautiful conversation. Today, I have as my expert Dr. Gary Salyer. He is a mentor, a relationship mentor, and just a phenomenal human being altogether. He's full of wisdom and experience in this area of love, relationships, single people, couples. He is extremely talented and very generous with his knowledge. So today our intention is to create a conversation around the topic that may sound like it doesn't really apply that much to dating, but and the word could be a little bit, scary, like, oh, that's psychology, oh, that's not, I'm dating here. But the word is resilience. And when we were discussing with Dr. Salyer what topic to bring to you today, this week, he, with his wisdom, he said, well, Natalia, in 2025, dating, online dating, it's really getting complicated. So people need more resilience and understand more what that is and how we can have access to that so it can affect our performance, our results. Welcome, Dr. Gary Salyer. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Natalia. It is always a pleasure to be with you. You're a real gift to the coaching and anybody that works with you. And I'm glad that we're friends. Thank you for inviting me. It's good to be here.
Oh, you are welcome. And I'm so honored that you mentioned that we are friends because yes, we are friends and you are incredible.
Not many people will I pick up in the middle of buying food at Whole Foods like we did a few days ago. So yeah, you a lot of people I'd let that ring through.
Thank you. Well, you have a big space in my heart. I think we met a couple of years ago now, 2 years probably, and we kept in touch. And you're just incredible and such a not only an incredible man, you are an incredible husband. You are an incredible therapist, and you have very good resources in your website to help people with this area of our life, which is our love life, that is so important. I will bias, I'm biased, but I'll say it's the most important part of our lives. And so what are your thoughts about this? How would you like to approach this conversation about resilience? Would you like to talk about what resilience is for people that are not into the therapy knowledge, words?
Resilience is the ability to bounce back. It's the ability to keep resourceful, emotionally resourceful in the midst of whatever you're at. And in this instance, we're talking about the modern dating scene. Resilience is often tied to not only your emotional resources, but keeping a calm body. Because if there's a history of reactive states or anxious or avoidant, those are both anxious, reactive states, by the way, just long-term grooved ones. You lose your ability to keep your center in your own worthiness, in your own sense of empoweredness, those feelings especially. And so resilience is the ability to continue feeling your worth and your power when you're on online dating. And let's just face it, there is a lot of things about online, especially on app, that leads people to feel unworthy or disempowered. Unworthy is like, oh my God, look at these profiles. Everybody's they do Pilates and rock climbing and I just have a goldfish bowl over here. How do I spin that? Right.
Right.
And empowered is, gosh, no matter how many times I say I'm looking for a man who wants to come in, I get these guys that send me pictures of fish, you know, which I guess is, I just had a friend show me one of these, and I guess like a third of the guys are showing her pictures of fish from a fishing trip. This is not Bass Pro Shop. This is an
Wow.
online dating. And I'm going, you know, how frustrating it is to say I'm looking for a serious relationship and somebody holds up fish, you
Right.
know, and that's the resilience, is keeping your worthiness, your sense, your feeling of worthiness. Hey, if they don't get it, I'm still worthy. I know he or she is out there. And it's that sense of empowered. I have a right. I can create my experience. All these shenanigans, and yes, there are shenanigans, they don't dictate my eventual outcome. And yes, there may be some hard sloshing. Yes, there's a lot of swiping left, but I have the ability to find the one I want to swipe down with, so to speak, and really get to know. And it's that keeping that resilience is keeping the emotional reserves of welcomed. I'd say worthy and empowered, especially, and keeping your body calm through all this so that you keep your focus on what you really want. I'm going to find the love of my life, period.
Right. Right.
And
Now, you mentioned the word focus, and I mean, I was listening attentively to everything you said. So wise. Thank you for sharing that. And then you said the word focus, and funny enough, all my attention went to that.
the
It's
word progress, what was it?
the word focus,
Yes.
because I think that's a big thing right now. We are so bombarded with so much information, and also on the dating apps, there are so many people on the dating apps that it's hard to stay focused and not
Mhm.
be distracted by whatever is happening outside or inside of us. It's really, really, really hard to do that sometimes, to keep focused. So do you have any skills, any way that we can stay focused and try to avoid the temptation of distracting ourselves with something else, or with the men sometimes, because
Yeah.
it's so hard that sometimes even a man becomes a distraction. We keep going after a man that we know is not there, but it's better than nothing.
Well, keeping focus in my world is also the next to kin neighbor is make the focus is what you're consciously going after. You have to deal with the focus that your subconscious, your attachment style is going
Mm,
after. This can be seen, I really want a long term, passionate, loving relationship. And this part could be saying, remember the last time we were in a relationship? Oh, I don't know if I want that. So, part of keeping focus, this part is easy, but it's getting this part aligned with what we want. So that you may want a long-term relationship, but as I was talking with a friend the other day, and what she said is, sometimes I get so tired of this resistance for
right.
emotional connection in men. She goes, but if I'm really honest, I have a resistance as soon as I get it. Now, so some part of her is the part that it wants to resist is running the picking. She
Right.
says, I have a focus over here on that emotionally connecting guy, but this part is going moving the camera over this way. and and you have to do the deep work so that we are aligning the safety we have in relationships, what we would call attachment patterns, and all of those attachment patterns, anxious, secure, and avoidant, they're all safety patterns, right? With this, if we can align this part with this, we're good. If the part that's running our deep feelings and our expectations and our safety values around love is not, it will fight us. It will tell us to go for, go, oh, shiny object over there. And you got to remember, that deep part runs attraction. It can turn on the juices for Mr. and Ms. Wrong. So if we're going to keep focus, we have to align our whole brain with love, being safe with love, real love, not just any type of love, because we only have one word in English, right?
Right.
you, you know. Other language, not so much. What was it? Persian language has like 80 different words, right?
I
So
love
it's about knowing that, keeping a focus on what real love. So when I hear someone say, yeah, that, I'm so afraid of all those emotionally avoidant men. Yes, we want to weed through them, but you have to know that. But you know what? I deserve real connection. And I'm just, when I see the first sign, we move on. Not in an avoidant way, but in the secure way of realizing when someone gives us those signals. And the signal could be on an online lab. Somebody has a picture way back here. Hey, and they've all, and if that's the camera you're connecting to, they've
right,
already shown you how much closeness they want. How many pictures from the internet
right,
I guess are, they show you right up front
right,
who they are. But if there's some part that say, and this isn't just one scenario, is trying to keep a little distance, 1 foot out, it tends to go for that because it will feel safer with that distance. And so the focus has to be on, for it to have real, to be resilient and everything, is to really work on any of those feelings of unwelcomed and unworthy and uncherished or disempowered or unloved or unsafe. So you know that you can be safe with real love, that just, when you wake up in the middle of the night, you're just so happy that this person is beside you. You wake up in the morning like you saw each other's best friends, and it's like Christmas morning. That's how it is in my marriage. We wake up every morning like kids at Christmas, which is like, you think we hadn't seen each other in 18 years, and it was just last night. That's possible with, when your brain is aligned and resourceful.
absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, and thank you for sharing about your relationship. Yes, that is possible. I have it too, and I know we create it. It's our choice to create that, and we just found somebody that wanted the same thing. So it's
Yes.
beautiful. And when you said this part and this part, when you said this part, you mean the primitive brain. It's the
Yeah.
brain that keeps us in survival. It's the brain that wants us to be safe all the time. So what are
We're
some
talking prefrontal cortex, basically limbic system, or your safety brain, which is more reptilian.
the reptilian
Like,
brain?
this is your deep subconscious. It lives in an internal
Okay.
level. This part is the part that says, "Hi, I'm Natalia. I'm a hard dating coach. I have this story." Comes up beliefs, stories, identity. This part is running the basic feelings. So we
Right.
want to work with this part, the part that speaks to us through feelings. It doesn't use words so much, but it speaks a lot through feelings. And most feelings, if they had words, would say yes or no. So we want to deal with not this part, which does some really cool human things, but
Right.
the part that here is sorting for what are we safe with, both attachment wise and physically. Yeah.
So you mentioned on this part, on our primitive brain, the reptilian brain, that it creates the attraction. So what makes digressing a tiny bit, but I love this subject and I have my ideas about it. But I would love to hear what you said about what really creates attraction. Like why we get attracted to some people and not to others, or why men are attracted to us or not attracted to us.
Okay. Well, there's two levels for, we know that attraction comes from something in the caudate nucleus. That's your basic attraction center. That's more in what's called the reptilian complex. Now, that's been along because reptiles needed to reproduce. Okay, so there is an element here that is mate seeking. It is, how do I find somebody with the right genetic qualities that my offspring will produce? Okay,
Right.
there is ancient evolutionary knowledge there. Make no mistake about it. Right? I mean, guys are connected to big doe eyes because big doe eyes are created by estrogen. You don't get them without it. Estrogen says fertile. I mean, these are also, I could go through a whole list of real subtle things we got from our animal background, right? And make no mistake that there's an element there, and all of us are encoded a little differently. There's another element, though, that affects relationships at these higher levels. That part of our brain it's 350 million years old. It's basically here to keep the body on the planet, right? And it's still relatively unsophisticated. It knows association, but not comparison. It can't do better than. It is always sorting for how do I keep my master on the planet, that part of the brain. And what it does, it's because it's so unsophisticated, it's got a very simple algorithm, basically. Did I breathe through it? So if you can breathe, this is why when people aren't breathing, breathe, breathe, breathe. It tells you're trying to tell that part, hey, you're safe. This is an old, we've been doing this for millions of years. Breathe, breathe, breathe. So this part is associating what you breathe through with what's called survival. And if you breathe through loved and safe and worthy and cherished and protected, it goes, oh my God, all those feelings equal survival. Let's have that again. The bug in the say you grew up with rejected, unwelcome, not so worthy of getting your needs met, not so cherished in a way, not so empowered, not safe to speak my voice. It will say, oh, did I breathe through that? Oh, that's survival. And for the sake of survival, it goes looking for a partner who matches what I call a survivable states list. Okay. An approved survivable state. Now, we didn't say this was happy or love. We said this is survival because this part is not running a lot of feelings. Most reptiles out back aren't running a lot of feelings. And then, so it's subtly looking and turning on attraction hormones for the most survivable and the work. And so then we start getting attached to Mr. and Ms. Wrong. You could be in a room with 1,000 men or women, and 999 could be approved sweethearts of the world. And there's this one person that's emotionally unavailable. And if that was what you grew up with and got associated with survival in this very primitive way, your attraction hormones would turn on you. Oh my God, aren't they a hunk, or aren't they a fox? And the next thing you know, and all your friends at the table, no, not that one. That's how it works. And so there's a bit of a disjuncture between this early sense of survival and the part of us that would really like to be loved. And it's so any of those feelings that got associated at a very primitive level with survival or safety, is another way. You want to rework those so that your emotional compass for love and your survival compass is more based on worthy than unworthy, empowered than disempowered. That's the deep work. When we align like that, then we stop being so attracted to Mr. and Ms. Wrong. It doesn't mean that we might not look at the marble man and go, wow, 6'4" and 220. But it's not associated in the same way. Go, yeah, but I like that one. It's like one client when we did our work, she was always getting attached and falling in love with very successful men. The first guy was was 6'3", looked like Pierce Brosnan, wore Armani suits, and he was a lawyer, right? And my God, he knew the love languages. But the feeling that she had was uncherished and not so worthy. 5 weeks into this new relationship, she walks in and she goes, yep, yeah, he likes Pilates, he likes checking out the women. Not so worthy, not so check. So when we do the work and we get worthy and cherishable up and running as her new list of what's survivable, what you can be attracted to, what you can have in love, she goes on a date, and guess what? There's a virtual clone. He's like 6'4", everything except it's not Pilates. I think it's yoga you wanted, and he's a doctor. And then this other guy who is really funny and humorous shows up in Hawaii, and he's about 20 pounds overweight, and he's an IT guy, but he's got a wicked sense of humor. But he's got his Hawaiian shirt, not exactly Armani approved, And going out for a month with each of them. She says, I made my choice. And I said, which one? She goes, the guy in the Hawaiian shirt. And her words were, because he made me feel like a queen. That's what. That's cherished. And so just notice that even, it's not like she couldn't be somewhat attracted. I mean, the guy was, was spitting image and Pierce Brosnan, for what I understand, right? Who wouldn't like to? I would love to look like that.
Yeah.
Maybe. But over here, once we do the work, she's now aligned. There's resilience. Her brain is using a different set of feelings to say what is not only survivable, but what do I deserve in a relationship? And we align those parts of the brain with this part, and now suddenly she can pick a man who can truly, make her laugh and feel loved all at the same time. And I
Sounds lovely.
didn't know anything about Pilates.
Sounds like Adam Sandler, like he's
Yes.
the typical, not your idea, not the stereotype of the model looking guy, but he always conquers the ladies. So, Dr. Gary Salyer, I would like you to tell us a little bit because the kind of work you are doing is super powerful. I mean, you just mentioned a miracle story right there. You together with this lady, you both changed her life for the
Yeah.
better, and that's something like it's incredible, and that's something that we really like to do, and that's why we do what we do. But when you said the deep work, the work and all that, how does it look like working with you? Would you mind, for
Yeah.
single ladies? I know you do the work for couples too, and if
Mhm.
anybody here is in a relationship, Dr. Salyer is fantastic for that, but we are talking to single ladies today.
Okay. Yes. Yes. And, to be honest with you, what I try when I'm working with singles, I'm looking for what I call the Groundhog Day. The
Okay.
pattern that's over and over again. Those are the goal. And then I go underneath, what feeling is driving this? Using my own, kind of unique theory of attachment that I discussed in my book, Safe to Love Again. I know that from early on, and related relationships will still use the same feelings. If you look at a baby that feels securely loved, we can know that by 1 year old. And at one, how many stories are being told? How many identities? Not a lot. Not a lot. Just feelings are running. Well, so what tells a baby that we know from, attachment science, that baby is securely attached, knows they're loved? There's the four feelings, because that's the only thing running, is welcomed with joy. Oh my God, little Ty, we're glad you're here. Worthy and nourished. They can reach out for needs and know they'll get a timely, attuned response. Yeah, mom and dad may get it wrong the first 2 or 3 times, but give them a little bit of practice and they'll figure me out. Right. They're cherished. Someone sees their essence and they can explore their worlds, but come back to a we. And for a baby, that's as simple as going out and playing with their toys in the next room, but knowing mom's looking over them or dad is. Later on, it's like we get to do our big aspirations and go for whatever, building a business, and know that when we come home at night, someone's there for us. Same thing. And then we feel empowered to have a voice with choice, and we co-create, and we are able to create a we. Now, it's restoring those feelings so we are safe with those feelings. Because at one point in time, you say, well, I want to feel worthy. But if something like that, where you got your hand slapped or you got shamed every time you reached out for your needs, oh man, you're too much work, little one, then that feeling is not encoded as safe. Tony Robbins approved, maybe, but not proved by here.
Yeah.
You feel empowered, but if every time your voice got snuffed out, approval, so we've got to make it go back. And I do what's called a lot of it is re-imprinting. I'm working with neural nets. I want your brain to fire off feelings and states differently, to really go underneath what we're talking about, to how is your brain creating this and how do we help it take a better deal, because it only took the best deal available back there. At one time, at 4, speaking my truth to a borderline mother would have gotten me thrown against a wall and maybe killed.
Right.
Empowered with choice was not, I would never have gone back and told that 4-year-old, you need to stand up. Tony Robbins says you can do this. Let's do it. Right? Yeah, I wouldn't. I'm here because of those wise decisions, but not so wise in my relationships anymore.
Right.
So it is going back and really helping and helping neurons make better friends, so that it's not just talk, it's feeling different at a very deep level that kind of floats down into your body. This is what attachment work is meant to be at its best. So that, as one client said to me early, what I love about the work is a week or two later, I'm just feeling and doing things differently and not thinking about it. That is my definition of change.
Yes.
Yes.
Love it. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Before we go apart, would you like to say something else about the initial topic, which was resilience in dating, and also how can people find you?
Okay. Well, all of this is resilience. If you are running safety, you're better than unsafety. And we know from the research that when a calm brain is able to reset and deal with adversity a lot better than one that's in fight or flight mode. Cortisol does not add, to feelings of resilience. So everything I said will create resilience. Resilience, the ability to stay centered in your highest self and your best emotions, so you and your body can deal with that and find the love you want. Now, if you want to reach out to me, you can go to Gary Salyer, SALYER.com. There's tons of ways of reaching out to me there. I've got some free videos, but that's the best way. Just go to my website, see some more videos, longer videos, whatever, or my book on Amazon, at Safe to Love Again. That's also on the website. So I just go to GarySalyer.com. And, there's a contact button in there somewhere.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So your book, I think, will be a great thing to get. Safe to Love Again by Dr. Gary Salyer. It's fantastic. And go to the website. And thank you so much for being here. I know you're super busy, and it's always a pleasure to see you, to share moments with you, even if it's a quick call. It's a pleasure. I love how your energy is so open and inviting, and you're such a sweet man, and you're so wise, and at the same time so approachable. I really like that. It's something that I admire in you. So thank you.
And you too, Natalia. You are a good soul. I trust you, therefore, and you're working.
Oh.
You're doing this for all the good reasons, and
Yeah.
and I'm glad to say that you reached out to me and we've become friends. And to everybody out there, thank you for joining us over lunch or whatever time it is. It's lunchtime for me.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. Thank you for everybody. And if you have questions, just put them on the comments and I will pass them along to Dr. Salyer. And thank you so much. So see you next week.